Hello and welcome back. First, to get a little housekeeping out of the way, this is no longer the Aware Hair channel. It is now Geezer Guns. Because I was speaking to someone who is a lot brighter about these things than I am, and she recommended that my videos, and I extrapolated it over to the entire channel, need to be titled more targeted to what the videos are about or what the channel is about. And while Aware Hair sounded nice, it had a nice ring to it, and it kind of flowed, it had absolutely nothing to do with what I am going to be making videos about. Truthfully, if just the Aware Hair sounded more like a new agey meditation yoga type of channel. And while I do practice a form of meditation, which is more commonly referred to as falling asleep in the recliner, the whole yoga thing, it ain't going to happen. It'd be hilarious. I'd probably get a lot of views, but I haven't quite got to that point of being willing to embarrass myself just for views. So I will get there someday, so just keep watching. But anyway, that's why this video is more directly targeted to, titled more directly at the small of the back carry. And everybody's choice of carrying is a very personal thing. It's mainly, depends on your body type, the type of gun you're carrying, whether you like the Kydex or leather, or like me, I prefer the hybrids. The holster I have for that one is made by Alien Gear, and it's incredibly comfortable. Big fan. I have another one that's made by Crossbreed, also just incredibly comfortable, and I'm a big fan of them too. But I carry at about 3 o'clock, maybe 3:15, 2:45. Just kind of depends on which pants I'm wearing. And the whole appendix carry, I've never tried it, not going to, because my gut to butt ratio is a little out of whack, and I just cannot see if any way possible for an appendix carry would be comfortable on me. Some big guys say they do it, and when they stand up, they move it over this hump, and when they sit down, they move it over the other hump, and I'm just not willing to go through that trouble just to be able to have a gun pointing at my junk. So 3 o'clock is about good for me. Some people carry at 4 o'clock, some at 2 o'clock. Like I said, some appendix carry. Some carry small of the back. And in my opinion, this is the worst place to carry a gun. It doesn't strike me as being easy to access. If you are in a confrontation and it becomes a grappling kind of situation and you end up on the ground, once you're on your back on the ground, you are no longer going to have access to your firearm. And it is possible when you're carrying small of the back to have somebody sneak up behind you and grab your gun out of your holster. And if you're lucky, they will just take it and run away. If you're unlucky, they'll take it and shoot you in the back of the head, then run away. But it just never struck me as a good idea. But then I had something happen that really reinforced my negative view of small of the back carry. And this happened, I'd taken a week off of work. I had to burn up a week's vacation before the end of the season, otherwise I'd lose it. So I took a week off and dedicated it to carrying anytime I was awake. I'd get up in the morning, I'd get dressed, put the holster on, put the gun in the holster. It would stay there all day until I got ready to go to bed at night. Because that's what the guys on YouTube, and that's where I go for most of my information. I think that's where most of us go for most of our information anymore. But they all said that the more you carry it, the more comfortable you'll be with it, and eventually it'll get to the point to where you don't even notice it's there. You won't be doing that, reaching down to see if it's still in the holster or not. You won't be finagling with it, or you won't be tugging on your shirt or your jacket to make sure it's covered. It'll just be there, and it'll just flow with you, and it'll be completely natural, which turned out to be true. But I was down to my last couple of days, of being off. And I developed an interest in suppressors lately. And there'll be a video explaining that coming up. But there was a place not that far down the road, about a 45, maybe an hour drive away, that had one of the suppressor kiosks. And I can't remember the name of it. I'll try to stick it in here somehow. But it's basically you go there and it'll take your prints. You can fill out all your paperwork. They send it, you pay for your suppressor, throw in the $200 for the tax stamp. They file all the paperwork, and then when the tax stamp comes back in, they give you a call, and you go back out and you pick up your suppressor. And mainly I was going for information, but I figured I'd go through the process anyway. That would get it in the system. That way when I got ready to actually buy, all that would already be there. And one of the things I found was putting a suppressor on a gun's expensive. Suppressors run anywhere from $700 to $1,200, depending on how good a one you get and what size it is and how many decibels it reduces. And I would have had to get a new barrel for the one gun I was wanting to put it on, which would be my Glock 22 in .40 caliber. And I'd had to buy a new barrel for that, which would have cost me between $130 and $150. The other gun I was wanting to put it on was a Sig Sauer, P229, and that one would have cost me between $150 and $200, depending on the quality of the barrel and everything else. And I wasn't quite ready to kick out that kind of cash just yet. I was window shopping, basically. But after talking to the guys, I looked at stuff, and I told them I'd get back when I got ready to buy. Went out and climbed in the car and got ready to head for home. And before I had left to go up there, I had swung by my favorite 5-star restaurant, McDonald's, and got my usual horribly oversized, fat-laden, salt-infused, sodium-riddled, little pile of death. And of course, it came with a large drink. And as I'm leaving the place, I'm going down the road, I'm realizing I'm feeling the urge to relieve myself. And back when you're in your 20s like that, you feel the urge, you think, well, I'm only about a half hour away from the house, I'll wait. But when you get to be my age and you feel that urge coming on, it's basically a matter of, that's a pretty good sized tree, I bet I can hide behind that. But fortunately, I didn't have to take that route. There was a shopping center on the way, had a store in it that I knew, had large, well-appointed restrooms for the public. So I swung in there and went inside. As I'm heading into the restroom, there was nobody else there, so I had my pick of all the spots. And as I'm coming in towards the urinal, I turned right on final approach, and both feet just slid right out from underneath me. My feet went left, my head went right, and all 260 pounds of me landed on my gun. And when you get to be my age and configuration, and you end up on the floor, whether it's your idea or somebody else's, you don't just hop back up. There's a lot of physics involved and leverage and creepy, disturbing noises before you're actually able to get yourself up off the ground. Unless you are properly incentivized. And in this case, my incentive came from the sudden realization I was lying on the floor in a public restroom in front of a urinal where there was something on that floor that caused my feet to slide out from underneath me. I launched myself up off that floor. It was like a magic trick. There should have been a lady in a sequined outfit standing next to me going, ta-da! But I staggered over to the other side of the room. I was leaning against the wall when another person came in, and I told him, be careful, floor is slick. And he said, did you fall? And I said, yeah. And I said, I think I'm okay, though. And he goes, you want me to go get somebody? And I said, no, I'm sure I'm fine. And he looked at me for a second and he goes, "No, I'm going to go get somebody." So I must have looked worse than I felt, or I may have looked like I always do, and he just assumed this was a result of an injury. But a manager came back in, and I filled out a report, and one of the other managers was taking pictures at the front of the urinal, and I'm telling the guys, I don't want to sue. I'm just, letting you know what happened. I signed off on the report, and I did swing in by the emergency room on the way home just to make sure I hadn't actually broke something. They said, "No, you're fine." So I got up the next day. It was a little stiff, but it wasn't that big a deal. But a couple of days later, I was finishing up my shower and standing in front of a mirror, combing my hair and getting stuff. And I don't normally take an inventory of my body when I take a shower. It's not that it's that disturbing of a view, but I haven't added or removed anything for a long time. So there's really no need to do inventory. But I caught something out the corner of my eye. And it was this. My wife, who is an excellent photographer, was kind enough to take the picture. And I was kind enough to crop it down to the point that where you didn't have to worry about seeing anything more disturbing than the bruise. And that got me to thinking that if I was a person that was carrying small of the back, and my feet had gone out in front of me instead of to the side, and I had landed with my spine on the gun, there wouldn't have been enough incentive to get me up off the floor by myself. I was going to need help. And to me, that's just another reason why carrying small of the back is such a horrible idea. I'd rather see you get stuck in the 70s and carry a shoulder holster. Okay, or just get a pocket holster and buy a little tiny gun and put it in your front pocket. I can't see any reason why with all the downsides of carrying small of the back, why anybody would do it. So, once again, if you enjoyed this, if you learned anything from it, I'd appreciate it if you'd take a minute and hit the subscribe button. And hopefully the thumbs up and the notification bell. And if you got a comment, leave a comment. I realize I'm, piling it on you, but it all counts. It's all, and I love to hear a comment or two from people if they enjoyed it or if they didn't enjoy it, if they thought it sucked. As long as you honestly thought it sucked, I'd be happy to hear that. If you're just saying it sucked so you can be aggravating, then no, I don't want to hear that. But here coming up, I have a couple more lined up in my pointy little head. The one about the suppressors, which I still see no reason why you should have to get a tax stamp for a suppressor. It does not make the firearm more dangerous. It does nothing but protect your hearing and the hearing of other people that are shooting around you. But thank you so much for watching. I will be back soon with more entertainment, or maybe less entertainment. Take care.